Take a seat.
Take it to there, yes. Perfect.
Oh, let me call it.
I'm doing some photos,
on the table
so
for
when
them.
you
Okay,
walking back,
yeah, they should be
if you
coming.
want, do you mind, because I don't want to, I mean, it'll be quick, but if you want, if you move up, I can also just go behind. Whatever's good for you.
Whatever you prefer. I don't have that much space. Well, that's good. Let me know.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, just so I don't have a little, so I'm not interrupting.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hey, gentlemen, Emmanuel. At some point, we're gonna turn those off, right? You guys ever eat at least, or?
No, I didn't eat yet.
No time? Oh, sorry.
You did probably good try to do like 5 minutes.
You know, I was gonna tell you too, but I don't know if you're skipping the lunch. I don't know if you want to skip the lunch.
Yeah, no, I like this.
Yes, okay.
I mean, with this is live, so you guys should have a premium.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start in about 5 minutes, okay?
Good morning.
Thank you. Welcome.
I was going to, unfortunately, I don't know how to get rid of the comments. They're still showing up.
Are we ready?
Yeah, what is showing up on screen?
Everything's good?
They are.
You ready?
So he will have to do that? Okay, they said sign in, so. I'm afraid that if I go into it, though, would it affect the broadcast? No, I'm saying when I sign in. If you sign in, you might have to mess up the thing.
No. I didn't say that for people.
That's somebody that.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, but what are you talking about? In terms of the access questions, set up a big
Brother? Is Miriam? Is Miriam? Yeah. So my need to access YouTube so I can get rid of these chats. I don't want to have the opportunity to change that.
You're streaming this, right? And you have students.
Yes.
Is any way we can get this for them to see if they want to chime in as well too? I don't know if we can go like that. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
You don't know anything tonight, but we are parents. Our kids don't hear. My son is making Moten, and Aiden is not here. So we're part of the PTA, and we speak to your parents. So we know you guys, we love you guys, and so we wanted to have a conversation. We wanted to bring law enforcement in to have a conversation with everything that's been going on in the world. We wanted to, bridge all the divide and the concerns that parents that we have about the safety of our young people. And we wanted also to, have law enforcement that are really necessary and important to our communities. And some are awesome people. We wanted to bring them in so that they can have an honest conversation and talk to you about the points of their work so that you can get a different perspective. And we also wanted them to hear from you. Joining the seniors, and we have freshmen and sophomores in here too, just joining the seniors. Because you guys are going to venture out into the world. You're off to college or whatever you're doing post high school, and so we just want you to, develop your maturity and understanding about how the world works. So thank you for coming. We're asking that everyone listen to each other. We're asking that if you need to speak. We have 2 mics because we're live streaming this, so the rest of our community can hear what's going on. So we have a mic on this side and a mic on that side. So please raise your hand if you have questions, thoughts, or comments. There are no wrong answers. We're just asking that you're respectful of each other. And just raise your hand, and then you can use the mic on either side. So from this side of the table, you use this side of the room, you use the mic on this side. If you're on this side of the room, you use the mic here. But just raise your hand, but we want this to be orderly, and we want this to be productive. Okay, so before we start, like with anything else, we need to bless this session. And so Brother Dennis, please help us.
Dear God, we begin always by remembering that we are in your presence. There are times, God, that we wander far. We search you out on the highways and the byways. But as we remind ourselves during the day, it is sometimes right here, right now, you are with us. So God, today, may we know your presence in this dialogue. May we know of your care and concern for all of us. And may we grow in care and concern for each other. We ask this in the name of your Son, the Redeemer, that we will be filled with the Spirit that gives us life. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts.
Forever.
Thank you. So we're going to start with the presentation.
Yes, before we start, I just want us to give a round of applause to Ms. Sandra Rice. Thank you so much. She came with me with this idea and she brought it to fruition, so we thank you so much. Please do it.
All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, my name is Sergeant Gordon. I'm a sergeant in the New York City Police Department. I'm currently assigned to the Office of the Chief of the Community Affairs Bureau. Today we have a group of officers here assigned to different portions of the police department who will be participating in this event, right? So we have a couple of officers assigned to recruitment division. We have some officers assigned to our options program. Some of the guys you really see in the front. We have officers assigned to our community outreach division around the room, and we have officers assigned to the 88 precinct, more specifically, I believe, the youth officer for the 88 precinct. So we will be here today to kind of answer some questions for you. I just want, before we start off, to just let you guys know, we don't always have the answers, right? We're not perfect. So there may be things that we may not know, right? And there may be better practices that you may have. So if there's something that you see, if there's any questions, we may be able to answer it, we may not be. But I just wanted, before we kick it off, just let you guys know, we don't always know everything. And so we'll try our best to help out what we can. Before we get started, I just want to have some of the officers stand up, introduce themselves, get spread out throughout the room, so you can feel comfortable asking questions. But they're going to just take a few seconds just to say who they are, what was their career path, and what led them here, and then we will, just so you know, I know most people want to know what this day would look like or what the schedule is going to look like. So we're going to have some of our officers from the options program. Once we finish with the introductions, they will go over options into virtual reality. That goes over scenarios, and we will be looking for some volunteers to participate in that. Following that, we'll have a discussion around policing, and we'll close out with having some of the specialty units like Explorer coordinators come speak to you guys on what that program looks like, how do you become a member, and then recruitment will also speak about career opportunities within the police department. So Jason, you guys want to take it on first?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fantastic. So I'm Detective Jason Anzagowski within the team. NYPD, they call me Jason. My last name is way too long to pronounce. So I'm here today to talk to you about a couple of things, right? My team back there with me, Detective Richardson and Sergeant Hopper, they're part of a small unit on the Chief of Community Affairs Bureau with Chief Magic. We're here to talk about some really innovative stuff that we have. So earlier today, I gave you a mood meter in front of you, correct? Yes? So, I didn't give you one? Sorry, brother. So, I just need a couple of volunteers to tell me right now how you feeling. I'm going to start with this young lady right here. How you feeling right now? Huh? You know? Earlier you told me today, I saw you were bored, right? Anybody else? Anybody else? Come on, don't be shy. Look at it. Look at the movie and tell me how you feeling right now. What was that? You chill? Anybody else on this side of the room? Anybody else? Calm. I like that. The reason why I start this is because I need to know how my audience is feeling. I feel chill and relaxed as well too. It's really important to know how your feelings are right now at all given time. I know some of you might feel, not chill. You might feel tense because the NYPD is here because of what's going on in society, right? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yes? I know I could agree on that. Because when we do our presentation, that's the audience, that's the tension that we get. Everybody's tense up because we walk inside the room. We understand that, law enforcement. We were trained. We're trained to understand that and have this dialogue with our members of the community, correct? Right? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
You think I wear this uniform all the time?
No.
No? I'll tell you right now, I have over 300 pairs of sneakers in my collection. Yes, yes. That's my team right there. I collect. If I tell you the amount of stuff I collect, you'd be blown away. My wife told me stop collecting. I got 2 young daughters and I gotta buy a house. She told me I gotta sell everything to do that. I buy sneakers, I buy toys, I buy cars, I buy everything. Right? But that's me personally. If you see me around the street with my long hair, I wear my J's. You think I'm a cop? No, right? No. Right? So it's the same as I think. So we're always talking how you feel and everything, right? So I understand we get judged. I know there's a lot of stuff that goes on the internet, but do a little bit more of your research. And that's when we go to the icebreaker. I want to know how my audience is feeling all the time. Okay? I'm a little tired, I go too. I haven't eaten. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, but that's not your concern, right? So with that said, I'm going to kick it off to my partner so I can help her. We're going to show you a small demonstration what options provides. Before I give it over to him, this program was started in East New York and Broward. Anybody here from the Ville? Anybody here from East New York? Right here? Here from Mike? Right there? This program was started over there because when I was patrolling the streets, we didn't have programs where kids could interact. There's a lot of violence going on. So we use virtual reality and we call something called social emotional intelligence, where we can have these deep conversations and figure out what's really going on in the communities. Okay? I'll explain to you a little later on of some stuff that we have. We have paid internships as well too. We have stipends. Within the program, we teach financial literature, coding, web design, photography. We have a partnership with Amazon, Brooklyn Nets, the Knicks, who else? The Giants, the Yankees, Bank of America. Help me out, team. We got it. Microsoft, Sony. We got it all. We got these career paths as well too, and I explained that a little later on, the opportunity that you can take advantage for my seniors here, my seniors and my juniors. All right? So with that said, thank you for your time. I'm going to give it over to Sergeant Harper.
Okay, good morning again, everyone. So let's jump right into it. So everybody does have rules here. Can we just cut the lights so everybody in the back sees the board? So again, it's important to know how you feel and your emotion at any given moment. Can somebody take a guess on why you think that's important to know your mood at any moment? Why you think it's important? Yes.
Maybe because your mood might help determine some of your actions. I don't know.
I like that one. You gonna say the same thing, right? I like that one. Also, like Jason said earlier, it tells him on how to engage you in a conversation. Right? So whether you're in a large room like this, or you're talking to family, friends, or peers, right? If I know I'm somewhere in the blue, and I tell someone that, the conversation may be a little different. Right? My reception is going to be a little different. Right? If I know somebody's in the red, if somebody in this room just now said, I'm living, we might pause this presentation and maybe pull them to the side and try to get to the bottom of what's going on. If somebody said, I'm in the yellow, I'm happy, then, hey, let's go, let's talk. Right? So it's always important for you personally to know what mood you're in at any given moment. Now let's talk about triggers, or something that might put you in the red or the blue area. And I'm gonna tell you about mine too. Somebody tell me something that you have to do that you don't normally like doing, but and it might put you in the red or blue. Something that you have to do, but you don't normally like doing. Yes. Chores. That's number one answer every night. Chores. That puts you in the red or blue. Blue. Okay. Anybody else? We got chores. What you got? Homework, that's 1A. Chores and homework. We don't like doing it, we have to do it, but that normally puts us in the blue. Oh, that puts you in the red. I got 4 boys and 1 girl. You know how much food that is? When I get off of work to go home and cook for them, if I make 1 sandwich on my son's up, my 6-year-old, then it's for the snack. What's for dinner? I can put 4 meats on it, and they still want to eat. That's a lot of work. So usually I'm in the blue. But now, how do I transition from the blue to a more positive emotion? Because if I stay in the blue when I'm cooking, 9 times out of 10 that food's going to come out. Yeah, I'm not putting no fear, no effort into it. If you're doing homework or chores, are you going to give it 110% if you stay in that emotion, that blue? Red, if you're doing your homework in the red, circle, 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 circle. So where do you need to be at to make sure the house is clean? That homework is A+. Where do you think you need to be at? Where? You say green, yellow? Yeah, where's your green and yellow, right? So, there's tools that you can use. Some of us know about it, but we don't know how to identify it. I'll share you my tools I use to transition. If I know I gotta cook, let me see, today I have leftovers, I cooked last night, so I don't have to cook today. But Tuesday night, rest assured I gotta cook. So I already know ahead of time. So the first thing I do is the tools I use is music. I'm a musician club, and I love to listen to a lot of different types of music. So what I do is I have a speaker, a little bigger than this one, Bluetooth speaker, I take it to the kitchen, put my phone up to it, put my music on, and then boom. As the music is playing, I'm going from blue to yellow, from blue to green. Now I'm cooking. I got the shrimp thrown in, I got the steak in the oven, potatoes, I'm doing my thing. That's what I use to transition. So I want you guys, you're not gonna learn this just overnight because it's a practice. Think of something that you can use that will help you transition. So the next time you got homework, next year, you already know, you know what puts me in this green or even maybe the blue. I need to calm down first to get to the green or get to the yellow. I got to do chores this week or tomorrow. What's going to change that mood, that emotion? So identify some of those tools. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about Michael Jordan. That's my favorite key part. So what are we talking about? Recognizing our feelings, understanding how our emotions impact behavior, and lastly, manage our decisions. When I'm in the red, I do not make the best decisions, right? My decision making skills trying to go down. Understanding how my emotions impact behavior. Again, like I explained for me, the emotions that I have when I'm in the blue, when I'm cooking, it's going to impact the process of me cooking and the outcome, right? So these are some of, this is what we're talking about today. So why is that important to you? Emotional intelligence ability. This is something that you're going to use, not just in school, not in college, not just in college, not just at home, just in life in general. Things are going to be thrown at you from left to right. Things that are purposely going to put you in the red, purposely going to put you in the blue. But can you stay there? No, you don't want to stay there, because then you won't be successful. And the plan is for each and every one of you in this room to be successful. Now, are there times you need to be in the red or the blue? Yes. If I'm a boxer or a football player, I want to defeat my opponent, where do you think I need to be at? Probably in the red. I get that extra power, right? But if I'm a boxer, I'm fighting. I'm in the red. I knock my opponent out. Let's say I'm the winner, I'm the champ. My family comes in the red, so I still be in the red. Punch my wife, hit my kids. I gotta come down, right? I gotta use something to bring me down, whatever that is. Some people are self-talk. Some people, for me, it's music. Some people it's meditation. So these are some of the things I want you guys to think about. Almost done, guys. So that's what I want to leave you with this. Jason started with earlier. This is the end of the iceberg. Anybody ever seen the end of the iceberg? Yes? You seen it before? Okay. So I love using this analogy when we talk about judging people based on what we see on the surface. Everybody knows that the iceberg is much bigger than the surface. So I use this because it's a very easy emotion for all of us to understand. Anyway, somebody walks in the room, they start knocking the mics on the floor, knocking the water down. What do you want to do? What do you want to say about that? They mad. What are you gonna say? They upset. What are you gonna say? They going crazy. Yeah, there's something wrong with that person, right? They crazy. But what else could be going on with that person? Underneath the surface. Okay? You guys can't see that on the back, it's too far to see. But underneath the surface, you're embarrassed, overwhelmed, ashamed, hurt. These are some of the things that I want you guys to take with you when we talk about empathy. When we talk about judging a book by its cover, right? We can easily do that for friends and family, but can we do that with strangers? Like when I'm on the train or the bus, or somebody gets on there, fidgety or doing, something that somebody say that's crazy. Can I train myself to say, you know what? Well, maybe when they left home, something happened. Maybe they just had an argument with their family member. Maybe in their childhood, when they were coming up at an early age, they suffered some trauma. When I do that, that's me showing empathy. I put myself in somebody else's shoes. So the next time you engage someone, whether it's a friend, family, stranger, and you see something that's not really aligned, right, or may seem off, think about that first. Think about, you know what? Maybe something happened before they saw me. Then went to the store and the people, they throw your change on the counter. Maybe they had an unruly customer before you came in, so it's not you. It could be something else going on. And when we start thinking like that, our interaction with people are much better and much different. We don't take something like that personally. That make sense, guys? Yeah. All right, we'll leave you with one last thing, and then we're going to get into the VR. This is really easy. This is a great group. I can tell you guys, smart scholars, escalation versus de-escalation. Really simple. I'm going to give you a scenario. You tell me whether it's escalating or de-escalating. Me and my friends, we leave the school today. We standing on the corner. Our basketball team just won the game. We lit, we hype, we outside, we screaming and making noise. And then somebody across the street says, get out of this neighborhood, it's disturbing everything. My baby's sleeping across the street. And then my friend says, ladies, shut up and go in the house. What was my friend doing to that situation? Yeah, see? You guys got it. Same scenario. Then my friend says, ladies, go in your house. If your baby sleep, take him in the face. And I said, go. What am I doing? Perfect. All right, so I'm going to select one or two of you guys. We're going to play a virtual reality scenario. So the purpose of this was we had young people tell us, what are some of the things you see in your neighborhood? What are some of the things that you want to see different? And they gave us scenarios. When they gave us the scenarios, we said, you know what? How would you like to act in these scenarios? How would you like to come to the studio and do the voiceovers? So we hired those young people from Brownsville, East New York, initially to help us out building these scenarios. So it looks like video games, stuff like that, but we have a game scenario, we have a hate crime scenario. So what's going to happen is you're going to come up, and you're going to put the headset on, and we're going to put you in VR. And you're going to have that scenario play out. And then you have to make a decision. What's right for you may not be right for me. One of the things we will never tell you to do as officers or as adults, and say, no, you're wrong for doing that. Guess what? It may be the right decision for you, based on where you live at, based on who your family is, based on your upbringing. We're here to give you options of different ways to handle different situations. All right? Has anybody used VR sets before? Couple of hands for you. Okay, so what happens is volunteers come up. Try. I got in the red. What's your name? Jeremy? Jamie. Come on, Jamie. You know I'm not giving you the homework, so. All right. So Detective Richardson, he's going to help you up. Everybody, you're going to be able to see what he's watching on the screen here. Then we're going to have to make a decision. We're not going to tell them which decision to make. We want you to be honest in your decision making. Don't just make what you think is the right decision based off of the police officer and the teacher that's in the room. We want you to make a decision based off of what you would do if you were with your friends or if you were by yourself.
Can you guys figure that out? You got it
Anybody have any questions for me right now before we start? Scenario? That's it? So the controllers will be in his hands. And you'll see, like, we start already. You comfortable, Jamie? I did. Alright, so you don't have to press any buttons. When it says, you can select this controller right through. Alright. The volume might be a little low on the smart board, so, just bear with it. I'll explain what's happening. Yes. Look up. Look around. Nothing. Oh, what you say? Sorry. Just start. Go ahead. Start. Put your toe. Don't push it. Start. Good. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen.
What?
So unfortunately, we have some technical difficulties. Again, these are some of the things that you would normally see, in the streets, so we just converted it to VR, because one of the things that we preach is we rather you make the right or wrong decision here in the classroom than to make that right or wrong decision out the street. So the program was very successful. We ran for about 4 years. We updated our library. We went from 3 scenarios to 11 scenarios. And then from there, a lot of young people said, well, we like technology, we like what you're doing, but we want to work with you on a more consistent basis. We didn't have anything to go off of that. So we said, well, what would y'all like to do? They said, well, what about job opportunities? A lot of young people look for job opportunities, not just in the summertime, but year-round. So my partner Jason said, you know what? We created a program called Summer Learn to Earn, where we incorporated the work that we were doing behind the scenes with the VR scenario. So how to code, how to calibrate, how to work some of that stuff that I was just doing that I couldn't fix. We got young people trained on that and created a market site to help us with that. From there, we opened up more tracks. So we went from coding to storyboarding, to write the scripts out. So we hired young people to write the scripts out. Right? Some of them didn't want to act. They didn't want to go to studio and do their voiceovers, but they wanted to be a part of it. So we hired young people to do that. So that was an opportunity that we opened up to all the young people in the 5 boroughs, not just in New York, not just in Brooklyn, Bronx, and whatever. And then from there, we graduated to Learn to Earn, which basically we're going to talk about now. I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 minutes on basically what that looks like. We have some flyers over here, and then we'll go on from there.
Thank you, I'll make this short and sweet. At the table behind me, I have supplies there and also outside. We have a cosmetology program for males and female. We have a coding program, a financial management course. Those that are seniors, it's really intuitive to be interested in this, because you want to know about your password, scholarship, students with that as well too. We have a coding program that we're using in a platform called Unity. We're actually building a video game right now. And then we do photography, web design, and videography as well too. If anybody's interested in any of these programs, we give you a stipend of $15 an hour. You work between 6 to 10 hours a week for 6 weeks. It's a stipend once again. You get a certificate of completion with our course as well too. And then if you want to continue working with us, it's a year-long program. It's not something that we can do for the summertime. It's something that we do from the fall to the spring to the whole entire year. So it's been in operation now for a year and a half. And also we have opportunities, like I said earlier, with our corporate partners as well too. Our corporate partners actually giving scholarships and job opportunities. Microsoft and Sony giving these opportunities for our young people. So if anybody's interested, come see me in the back here. I can sign you up. And then one of our ambassadors in our program, a scholar just like yourself as well too, will contact you, will give you all the information that you need. Comments, questions, anything? Anybody? No? Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. With that said, I give you the sergeant, Patrick Boyd. Thank you.
While we get that set up, you want to start the discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's start the discussion while they're trying to troubleshoot. Oh, yeah. So while they set up the system, we're trying to get it up and running. I'm gonna let a few of the other officers in the room just take a few seconds to just introduce themselves, and then we can get into the discussion. We want to hear what questions you have. Whatever you want to ask us, this is your time. Anything you wanted to know, there's no stupid questions. So if you're thinking it and you're afraid to say it, somebody else is probably thinking it. So don't feel, don't be afraid to ask us. We'll start off with Officer Brody. She can probably jump up and tell us something about herself.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Officer Brody. I'm with the Community Affairs Bureau. I cover predominantly Loughlin and Staten Island, but our Community Affairs is citywide, both Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan, Bronx, all over. All right, 16 and a half years on the job. You want to go with me?
Yeah.
Okay. You want the mic? Huh? No, I want the microphone. 16 and a half years on the job. I started out back in 2005. I was in the 106 precinct. That covers South Loughlin Park, Highland Beach, Richmond Hills area. I was there for about 2 years. From there, I went on to school safety uniform task force. I did that for 8 years, where I was in the schools that they deemed at that particular time that had a lot of violence happening in the schools. So we was inside the schools, the public city school system. From there, I went on to chief of department. I trained citywide domestic violence, all over schools, everywhere, programs, you name it. I went out to train and talk about domestic violence. I went to Control Borough of Queens North, that covers anything north of Queens. I did that for a little while. From there, I went to the 114, the Wells Course, and now I'm here. So I've done a lot in my career. And if you guys, like you said, have any questions, I'm hoping to answer them. What I can answer, if I can't, I'll give you my information and I'll make sure I'll get that answer for you. Thank you.
I'm teaching level 2 of Agent Loughlin. I'm going on my 9th year with the department. My 3rd year in recruitment. I started out actually as a mechanic, working for a company. Then took a chance, took the city test. 9 years later, I'm here talking to you guys. So I goes to show you, you still do what you like, and do something else in the department. So, thank you.
morning, everyone. My name is Hubert Southland, police officer. First of all, thank you for having us. We really appreciate it. I've been with the police department since 2010. When I first got on the job, I was sent to PSA 7. For those of you that don't know, we were covering housing in the South Bronx. And I gotta say, that was probably the highlight of my career. Then I kind of switched gears and just like Officer Brody, I went to school safety officers. I did that for about 2 years. That was an awesome time. I was working with young people all across the Bronx and Manhattan. After that, I went to youth strategies for about a year, again working with young people. That was a very rewarding time in my career. But I was one of those guys that I became a police officer because I wanted to be one since I was this big. So when the opportunity came up to go to candidate assessment division, where we process all the candidates that want to work for the police department, whether that be police officers or traffic or school safety agents, police communications technicians, we process them all. And within that division, there is a small section that does recruitment. And as a recruiter, it's a very small team of about, I think, 12 recruiters plus supervisors. We go all across the city to different communities and we talk about the job, different jobs, and different career paths that the police department offers. And I think there's things we'll be able to talk about that. So if you guys have any questions for us, think of them now and we'll get them at the end. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
My name is Detective Madam Robinson. I have 23 years in the department. When I came, I had no idea, none of my police department, I didn't want to be a police officer at all. I took this act for financially was a better improvement for me, and I'm glad I did it. I have no regrets. I enjoyed every day I had at the job, despite everything going on in the world. I love my job. I thought that in 79 precinct, then I moved on to the 83rd precinct, where I became a youth officer. That's how I found my niche. I was able to go to the school, do presentations like this, from elementary school to high school. We did a lot of programs for the kids. We took them on wonderful trips. We got to get the kids to experience a lot of cool things that they would have done on a normal basis. And then from there, I became community affairs officer at the bureau, the chief manager. And again, another great thing that I've had an opportunity to do with the department. So I'm happy to be here with you guys. And I hope you get a lot out. If you have any questions, just let us know, ask anything, and we'll be here to help out.
Officer David?
I was gonna take this off. Show me over here. All right, everybody hear me? Good. My name is Lamar David. I've been with the department for 16 and a half years. My classmate right here. And prior to coming to the department, I worked on Wright County for the Department of Corrections in the 4 building for about 2 years. So I worked in the jail system, then I came over here. I grew up in East New York. I grew up in Crown Heights, Nostrand Ave, St. Mark. I've never, ever had a good experience with a cop on me. Never. So I did like that. I wasn't really looking to be a cop. My aunt was a correction officer. She just retired recently as a captain. And at that time, she was like, go take the test. So I took the corrections test, police officer test, just because she told me to. But again, I had no regrets. I worked in Brooklyn, I worked in a 90th precinct, that's in Williamsburg. So it covers Williamsburg and parts of Bushwick. I worked there for about 7.5 years. And my time here, about 2 cops got shot in the 90th precinct. From the 90th precinct, I went to the 68th precinct, which is in Bay Ridge. It's a different animal, less crime. People are generally more nicer to the cops. I did 14 years of patrol. Patrol is where you're in a car and you answer radio runs, 911 calls, various things. So 14 years of patrol, then I did 2 years as what you call a neighborhood coordination officer. And it's safe, it's more community-based. It's kind of like a merger between community affairs and patrol. From there, I was a YCO. YCO, we deal with the youth, but I was a YCO for maybe a few months, and then I came to the Community Affairs Bureau. At the Community Affairs Bureau, I do a lot of it's myself and 2 other people, we do a lot of the photo and video content. Our stuff is nice, you can check it out yourself, you can be the judge. You guys do what you want to do, and everybody from the commissioner department, Commissioner Shea, from the chief of department, Rodney Harris, our chief, Chief Madry, they're very interested, and also Chief Juanita Holmes, and I'm speaking from experience. They are very interested in all of you guys and making sure like we connect with you guys, and also that you guys, look, you're growing up in urban communities. I went to Satellite West, which is on York Street, across the street from Farragut Projects. We're living in different times now, but they're concerned about all of you guys, and they want to make sure that we have a good working relationship. So right now it's an uphill battle, but we're here for the task. I'm done. I also went to film school. I did my undergrad in film, so hence videos, photos. And for the options program, myself and one of my partners, we're going to be teaching film. So we're going to have a film festival, so we're getting people ready to shoot small films. So if you're interested, I'll give everybody a card. You'll talk to Jason, but this person, if you have any other questions, I'll give you guys my card. You can call me directly, and I'll answer whatever you guys want outside of it.
And the last
Hey, good morning, everybody. For the most part, the flyers that send you guys have their best for the program. Keep this a little bit short. The Explore program does, it gives you an introduction into law enforcement. It gets you to pretty much be around police officers. It's almost like an internship. We have any tours in the room? No. Okay, so this is why I'm here. I would love to have all of you as explorers, but if anyone is somewhat interested in law enforcement, community service, college, summer internship jobs, we have a variety of different programs that we do. Let's see, what else? On there it says basketball. We do have our own basketball team that we play. We're pretty much located right here, so we're 4 blocks away from the school. For the most part, the last few weeks, I've been writing college scholarship letters. 2 of our former students from last year that worked for us here, both of them got $5,000 scholarships from last year. They're now both attending St. John's teams. And I don't want to bore you with the whole hoopla. I made it as simple as possible with this sheet. You guys can join. You can fill it out, you can text me, you can call. Anything that you guys want me to do as far as if you don't know if you're sure about the program, just give it a shot, call up, contact me. Any issues you have in this school or around here outside of the program, you can contact me. My cell phone number's on there. I've been in this prison for 15 years, been a youth officer for almost 10. Our program right now is 18 kids for Explore program. Our youth leadership council is about 20 kids. And our basketball team, we're starting 2 of them, that's about 15 for each team. So I would love for you guys to contact me for any program, any issues you have, college, job, school, whatever it is. Hit me up, shoot me a text, you know what I'm for. And hopefully I hear from some of you in the group. Hopefully I hear from you. Thank you.
Dr. Robinson, we got one other thing, and we'll get the
That's what he was saying, with the Explore program. It's not only law enforcement, because any type of employment you think about, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, nurse, anything, any kind of field that you're thinking about, every field has an Explore program. So if you're not sure how to find it, you can definitely contact him. And you can get you in contact with the other agencies. So it's not just that. If you join his, you probably don't like it, you get in contact with another Explore group and then you switch over and try that out. Every field has an Explore group.
All right, so I think we got everything set, so we'll try to give Jamie the second picture.
Hi, good morning. I'm Detective Richardson. I have 28 years on the job. I've been through a lot in this uniform. I'm a product of 4-3 Brooklyn. So I don't let kids tell me that where you're from, you can't succeed in life. I refuse to accept that from any kid. I started working with the Board of Ed in '88.
we had the 5 worst schools in the city. We started the scanner squad. 5 worst schools. From 88 to 93 when I got on the job. There was more guns and weapons coming to those schools in those 5 years that I was there. That it changed me to come to the NYPD. Because I can do more in this uniform to help the youth than I could with school safety. School safety was a platform for me to learn how to deal with different nationalities, behavior, and kids. It was very valuable to me. I took that knowledge and advanced it to NYPD. I always had a thing for kids because I have kids. I refuse for a kid to tell me no, they can't do something. Those words do not apply to you, they won't apply to me. Whatever I have to do to get you on the right track, I'm going to do that. I don't do it in the false sake. I'm just that person that will have the ability to go above and beyond. Because I believe in your success. Especially you kids now, y'all are my kids' future. And they're younger than y'all. So if you succeed, I know my kids got a good chance of surviving in this world we have right now. So what does that mean? I'm not going to let you fail. I don't do what anybody else do or say. I'm not. And I didn't stick around 8 years after retirement to see y'all fall, or anybody y'all know fall by the waist. It's not going to happen on my watch. You understand that? Yes. I really don't get you. Do you understand that? Yeah. Okay, good. This program shows you a lot. You have options and choices in life. Some people, even adults, don't realize they have that. So we're starting with the young kids to let y'all know that y'all have choices and options. You might be able to even enlighten your parents on something. The sky's the limit for y'all. We're going to the moon, right? That's it. Thank you for your time.
So Jamie is all set up, he's hooked up. So again, for those of you in the back, if you can't hear, I'll narrate what's going on, but it'll be a little self-explanatory. So Jamie, whenever you're ready, go ahead and start. You see right now, what crazy now? All right, so you look around before this one. So I'll be up my grade. You see where I say hey crowd? That's where I want you to put your hands through there. You might have to take a step forward. I don't see his controller raised, so it's on.
Yo, we got a game day. You ready?
Yeah, we ready. Are you ready, bro? Last game you won. You better score it.
Man, be quiet. Of course I'm score. I've been waiting for this game all week. What about this guy? He got no game.
So my teacher said you got no game.
But those two games.
There you go.
Nah, what's going on? This guy's always at this look around here.
I'm gonna pause it for a second. It's moving kind of fast. You guys following what's happening so far?
Yeah.
So him and his friends are walking down the street. They're talking about playing ball. All of a sudden, you see two guys across the street hugging. You see those two guys right across the street? all right? So they say they actually move around here, everybody know what that means, actually move? That's what that means, right? So they're saying these guys are gay for hugging, so I'm gonna play it out. And we'll go from there.
I'm so tired of seeing this all the time.
Yo, bro, me too, what the hell?
People got no respect for us. You need to stop doing this in our neighborhood.
Yo, I feel you, man.
Somebody gotta do something. What you say, repressive?
Yeah, bro, let's do it. Yo, if they act funny, let's knock them out.
Nah, that's a fact. Let's do this. It's gonna be mad funny.
Jimmy said no.
What they do to you? That's what I'm saying. You know this.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm dumb. But anyway, if you had a game with it, I don't score practice against trouble.
I get to be point guard.
Man, you don't always point guard. I wanna be point guard.
Right, so they don't want me to pick up on one, loser has to play up to it.
Well, pause it for a second. So obviously, you got that James made the right decision?
No.
You said no. Okay. Oh, that's cool, because we didn't want to play the other person. So Jamie said no, I want to part of this, let's go play basketball, and that's what the friends are going to do. Now we're going to extend that scene, and let's see what the conversation was like across the street. What we don't know. Remember we talked about, the surface and judging situations of people based off of the surface? Yeah. So let's see what that conversation was like across the street.
Yeah, bro. She was good for a minute. I can't believe she's gone. She was so young. I wish I had to spend more time with her. It happened so fast. I can't believe it.
Did you guys read that?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying, bro? And so for the young lady in the back that said she would let them do. Who said that? Raise your hand. Who said let them do it? I heard somebody say yeah. Don't be afraid. It's okay. We're not ready to go back. But let's see what happens. Jamie, this time we're gonna let them do it, okay?
Oh.
Now you ready? One at a time. I don't know if this is like there you go.
Yo, we got a game made. You ready?
Yeah, we ready. Are you ready, bro? Last game you won. You're gonna score.
Man, be quiet. Of course I'm school. I don't want to get this game all week. What about this guy? He got no game, got no shot. Look at those two gay dudes all over each other.
Hey, yo.
Nah, what's going on? These guys are always acting move around here. I'm so tired of seeing this all the time.
Yo, bro, me too. What the hell?
People got no respect for us. You need to stop doing this in our neighborhood.
Yo, I feel you, man.
Somebody gotta do something. What you say, repressive?
Yeah, bro, let's do it. Yo, if they act funny, let's knock them out.
Nah, that's a fact. Let's do this. It's gonna be mad funny.
They know I'm wrong. home and she's good. You want me to say? Don't push. Just relax. Like, you know how to take a regular thing? Look at that.
It's so high.
Everybody give it up, Daniel. Everybody give it up, Daniel. All right, anybody else want to try one? We'll try different scenarios. Yes, no, I want to pick one.
That was an option?
Okay, let's move to Simon Golia.
Let me give you a little background story to this one. You need your friends. So, you say any friends with your friends? So he's in God's bedroom. As you can see, is a Brooklyn Nets fan, and he's watching Law and Order. I don't know how many teams he's watching Law and Order, but he's watching the whole Law and Order. Room, kind of neat. So now he's talking about a young lady that they were talking, and then they broke up, or he broke up with her. But he still has some pictures that she used to send him. And so he's talking about possibly exposing her because he's upset. Y'all ever heard something like that before happen? Of course not, right? You never heard something like that. But just so y'all know, we did not write this script. Our young people wrote this. So it has happened somewhere else. All right, so we'll play that.
Okay. I usually be in my little dog while we together. We were on the back. I just didn't think she would do something like that. You know how girls did though. How come Molly if I wanted to? You try to never see that. Nice. I know Molly is good, Mom.
So, should we Number 4 is real quick. I just want to go kind of fast. So, I'll be 40. It says Destiny is 14. You are 16. So, Destiny is 14. He is 16. And by sharing those photos, he just committed a crime. Okay? So, well, we got a little twist in this video. Remember I told you what empathy is, putting yourself in somebody else's shoe, understanding how they feel. So now we're going to transform him, and everybody else that said he should do it, now we're going to turn him into Destiny. Ready? Destiny? All right, here we go. So for those who didn't hear, right now, once we read the finale, we said, oh. So again, we're in the room, we're having a good time today, going through these scenarios, but this is real life. And unfortunately, these cases happen. They have happened, right? And we don't think about it until after the fact. So when our young people came to us and said, yo, do one on cyberbullying, do one on excess safety, do one on hate crime, this is some of the things that they were experiencing. So we want to come here and show you scenarios so you can do this in the class. Yeah, do it. Yeah, don't do it. So you can see some of the outcomes, some of the things that could happen. Because we don't, listen, when we're young, we never think past the action. We never think about how that person might be feeling. So this was different from all of our other scenarios. We did it also in the hate crime one, which you didn't get a chance to see. I probably played it again. We'll put you in the victim's shoes. Once you make a decision, now you have to see how it feels after that decision was made. All right? So what are your thoughts on that? Anybody want to share their thoughts on that? Because now I'm saying, oh, the girl committed suicide. But it doesn't have to be that extreme. It could be something else.
One that relaxing.
Oh, she has it. What's worse than that?
Yeah, and then the fact that we have
Very immature. Unfortunately, it happens most of the time today, all across the city, all across this country, all across the world. I can agree with you.
I have one that all the ones that were laughing. What if that was your friend that he sent those pictures out to everybody? Your friend committed suicide. Would you still think it's a joke? Would you still think it's funny? Would you still think it's funny? What's your name? Huh? Would you think it's funny after your friend commits suicide? Your teammate? The point guard who feeds you the ball in the hole? Huh? I can't hear you. I'm just asking a question. So it'd be okay? You would not care? I don't like that. I'm not going to accept that from you.
All right, so we got time for one more. Anybody else? Want to try one?
About my opinion?
Or one? Or twice? Okay. So guys, we want to thank y'all. We got time today. We got something out of it again. If this is something that you see yourself or think about being a part of, whether it's something like writing scripting and stuff, doing the voiceovers, I can tell you some of the voices you heard. One young man named John, he lives in Brownsville. Jacob, he lives in Brownsville. Ryan and Jake are actually in college now, and they did this in high school. They still work with us on the assistant raising. So this is something that you think you might be interested in. You can talk to myself or Jason, or Detective Richardson at the end, or catch you before we leave, or you can catch the flyers that we have here. We have our contact information on the flyers as well. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Sergeant and another police officer that came in. One of the things that came up, I think you said you didn't know she was 14, right? So that's kind of, I'm glad that you said that, because that's kind of a common thing that we hear. So a lot of times people do things and you don't know everything, and then when you're sitting in front of either the police or whoever it is, then other things come up like, hey, I didn't know that part, I didn't know that part. So that's what we tell you, just to kind of be cognizant of some of your decisions, because once you're in trouble, nobody wants to hear, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. That really doesn't do anything for you. So just kind of keep that in mind. We'll have the sergeant come up and the officer from the 6th Street, just introduce themselves and then we'll go into some Q&A with you guys.
Hi guys, my name is Sergeant Tiger from the 63rd Precinct. That's Brooklyn South. We cover Marine Park, Middle Basin, and Case Plaza. I'm sure some of you guys have been to the mall. Everyone been to Case Plaza? We cover Case Plaza. Myself and Officer Covered is the YCO, the Youth Coordination Officer for that precinct. We were invited by standards. Thanks for having us. This is Brooklyn North, so we hardly ever jump borders, but I thought this would be a good, reason to come buying options, I was in that one, and the kids there loved it. It's a good interaction for youth, to see and interact with police. So I feel like we'll be covered, tell you what you do as far as like youth coordination stuff.
My name is Officer Carter. I'm the youth coordination officer for the 64th precinct. So pretty much I'm responsible for everyone who is 17 and 19. So whenever I have a child or juvenile under either 17 or under, if they're a victim of a crime, committed a crime, my job is to pretty much interact with the parents. I'll pop up at the school sometimes. I do home visits, anything that involves making sure that the youth are better for tomorrow, so that when you guys get older, you'll pay it forward. That's my responsibility with NYPD. So we have different programs like explorers programs. We usually pick kids up. Northeast Plaza usually have events like backpack rides. I'll coordinate with parents, pick the kids up, drop them off, have a good time, game days. So the main concern is for us to make sure that you guys are clean and safe. We do everything that has to do with people. So at the end of the day, we're going to allow you to. So we're going to support whatever you guys have going on. I think this is an amazing experience for you guys to interact and a lot of technology that's being provided for you guys to actually experience what it's like to be on the other side of being a victim or being laughed at or being bullied. It's a whole different perspective. So I'm truly honored to be with you guys today. You guys have a good day today, and thank you for having me.
Okay, so, let's focus on enforcement. My main question, my biggest question is, and anyone can answer this, why would you want to be an officer? What made you become a law enforcer? Tell us why. Anyone can answer that question, or for you guys to answer that question. What made you want to do it?
All right, so I'll jump to the first, and then anybody else will pick you back on. So for me, growing up,
No, it's good.
so for me, I come from a family of law enforcement, so. Sorry, guys. So for me, I come from a family of law enforcement. Growing up, both my uncles were cops, my cousins were cops. So I know everybody got their own reason for going into law enforcement. I kind of grew up in a law enforcement family, so coming up, it was kind of one of the things to do. But somebody else might have like a better reason. You guys?
Pretty much, my family, they came from Barbados. Law enforcement was not it for my family. I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to PS6 on Bedford and Snyder. I went to Walt Whitman on Block 6-7, and my high school was Erasmus. I went away to college. I was in Loughlin. I studied business. I ended up on Wall Street for a couple of years, 10 years, and then I came back to Brooklyn. My dream was pretty much to be around the people that I understand, that I look like, that can understand me, and that I can relate to. So everybody had their own different reasons, and I got a lot of slack for becoming a police officer. And sometimes you gotta make that sacrifice in order to do the right thing. And that's the name of the game, doing the right thing. So sometimes you're gonna stand out, but at the end of the day, you're going by yourself, and you're gonna go by yourself. So the reason why I became a cop is to make a difference, to understand that kids hang out after school, to understand that there's gonna be hangouts, to understand that, there's gonna be Labor Day parades. These are the things that a lot of police officers do in the community. They're trying to relate. So I want to be able to relate and give back to the community.
Can y'all hear me up here? Because I told y'all I like mics. You do? Okay. I have a question and then I'll respond to what her question was. Does anybody in here want to be in law enforcement? One hand, anybody,
Got one person over here. Huh? Mixed? Okay. Well, for me, I had no desire, no dreams. I didn't come from a family of law enforcement. I'm not from the Caribbean, I'm African American, been here since from the South. No desire at all. I graduated high school. I'm born and raised in Bushwick. My mother still lives in Bushwick. I'm out in Long Island now, but I went to Norfolk State University, APC. But this wasn't my dream. I took this test back in like 1995 or something like that. They was calling me and, sending me letters and emails, whatever, it wasn't emails back then, sending me letters, this test and corrections. She was taking it on the same day or something back then. I had no desire, didn't want to do it, didn't think about doing it, or in college they sending me stuff. I'm like, nope, I want to wear these suits, these stilettos, and be on Wall Street. So fast forward, I leave school, I didn't graduate at that point, come back up here. I'm going, pretty much from job to job. Whichever place was going to pay me more money, that's where I was at. So I was looking for more of something along the lines of stability, because we all have these dreams, a lot of plates on a lot of our plates for making decisions right now as 11th and 12th graders as to what you want to do with the rest of your life. When I can say, hopefully that's in here, I have 16 and a half years, you heard 28, 22, still don't know what they're going to do. You have teachers, principals, deans in here, still don't really know what they're going to do. They just want to do something, and that's what they do. All of that being said, you have to do something. I'm sure your parents are not sending you here and paying for school to do nothing. Like I said, for me, it was more about along the lines of stability, because I have to be real with y'all. I have to give y'all a real. Everybody's situation and backgrounds are not the same. But being here for me has allowed me to persevere and do so many things. And one of the greatest things where I keep being led back to, I'm I have my faith is in the Lord, leads me back to dealing with youth. I told y'all 8.5 years I dealt with it on School Safety Uniform Task Force. Come out from being inside, going to the precincts, I'm still back into YCOs. Everything I do, I'm in community affairs, I'm back here, I'm dealing with youth. So I was able, even with not wanting to do this, and some days it still feels like not wanting to do this, and that's real. But I get to do this. I get to affect something different here. I get to tell my story and come out here and be real with you guys that may not see this as something that you want to do, but it is something you can do, because you need to see me out there to help people like you, your mother, to have a different side to understand and come from a place of really understanding to do this. So I thank you. That's my story.
Like I said, my aunt was a captain in corrections, she told me to take the exam. So I took it, and then once I took it and I got invested in the process, everybody says we want to help people. Most cops say that, and I believe them. What does that look like? So when you get here, I think as you get older, and I'm just going to speak for myself, you want to leave a legacy behind. There are so many people that you never see, you never hear about. The New York City Police Foundation is one of them that invest lots of money in things like VR. And so you don't know who these people are, and they're investing in our communities and you, because this stuff is for you guys. So why I became a police officer, I did want to help people, but more specifically now, because I want to leave a legacy that's going to outlast even when I leave. I have 1.5 years left before I can just put my feet up and I'm done. But I want to leave something. I want to be a part of a system that leaves something for you guys, whether it's and it's not about policing, because we're teaching people photography, we're teaching them film, they're teaching financial literacy. So this is even beyond, we're not trying to take you from the police department, but I think part of our job, part of our duty is to leave something that you guys can have, systems in place that you can benefit from even outside of policing. So I'm invested in that, in whatever I can, and for the youth and also for adults, is putting stuff and giving you guys talents and also skills that you can use in the real world. So.
Good afternoon, everyone again.
Yeah.
Before, I didn't want to be a police officer. I took the test and I came to this job for civility. Just like my partner said. But prior to coming on the job, I'm a veteran. I did 22 years for the military. When 9/11 happened, I wasn't even here. I was overseas in Kosovo, watching everything on TV. I'm like, is this for real? And my thought process is, I was there in another country, but I couldn't be here to protect my family, my friends, my people here, So coming back, my veterans in my military, they said, Nat, take the test. I didn't want to take the test, but I took it, and I'm glad I did. Like I said, I'm stable, I can take care of myself. And now I get to extend my hand to other people to do everything. So it's a great job. It's only what you make out of it. You come in, you do right by people. My thing is, if I go home, my thought process is clear, I did my job for the day. You come across me, you need help, I'm gonna treat you like my little sister. Because I hope my little sister, she comes to another officer, can get help from someone, my mom, my cousin, somebody. So when you come out, you don't have to go across, I have this gun and that. You still can do this with the shield and the gun on your head. It's what's in your head. You have to have the right aura and present that aura to people to get it back. Just do the right thing by people, you have no problem. Regardless of what's going on around you, if you came across with it, you came in touch with it, just do right by them, you have a good time with yourself.
Do we all have any questions?
We have two other people coming in.
So we have, Captain Malcolm, who stopped by, he's actually the commanding officer of the precinct.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We talking about Friday, early.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so basically, funny story, I had no desire to have a police officer. I never really was really fond of going on, but what kind of inspired me is when I was in the military. So, I served a couple years in the Army, got deployed to, back then it was Loughlin, now the Republic of Czech. And one of the things that touched me was just being able to, do like a concert to ability. I see young kids looking at me and say, thank you. Thank you for being here for us. And, that kind of just resonated with me. And when I came back to the States, I started doing security work. And I felt like, it's just cool, but I wanted to do more. So in 1999, I took the police exam and they called me. Started off in the 17th precinct, Brownsville, did 5 years there, did a lot of beat patrol, got to know the community. From there, I became a sergeant, went to District 23 up in Harlem. Again, out there, working with the community. I did a stint inside as an investigator for about 6 years before I became lieutenant. Came back to Brooklyn North, 7th precinct, spent 2 years, worked communications, made captain, came to school safety division. I was actually in charge of the uniform task force, to cover Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island. Then, reached out to the chief manager at the time, who was CEO of North. Came to 77 Crown Heights, was the XO there for a few years, and after a year of working in Crown Heights, I came to the 80th precinct and now I'm commanding officer. One thing I gotta say about this job is that, no matter where you are, you have to humble yourself and treat everyone with dignity and respect. I truly believe that if you treat everyone with dignity, you never have a problem with the job. Once you decide that you want to actually disrespect people, you're gonna get that disrespect back. So that is my thing. Like I said, anyone who knows me will tell you, I don't care who you are, I always address you as sir, man. And if you carry that on throughout your career, you'll never have a problem.
Yeah, just one more thing, can you just elaborate, they probably know what a commanding officer is, so if you just.
Okay, yes, so I'm the precinct commander, basically I run the precinct. I'm in charge of all the cops and everything that goes on within the side of the precinct. Any questions?
Do we have any questions from the floor? If you guys have any questions, anything you wanted to know? Let's go.
This is for
all the police officers in the room.
Speak up a little bit.
Oh, this is for all the police officers in the room. My question is, when you see police brutality across the United States, or you see police incidents that happen, do you wake up the next morning and feel the type of way when people look at you, or you just carry on with your day and act like nothing happened?
Good question. Anybody?
You want to go first, Sarge?
So, one of the reasons why we started, that's a great question. One of the reasons why we started the Outspoken, if you remember the first time I said neighborhood policing, and my partner's really shy sometimes when it comes to talking, but it was in the midst of, everything that was happening in our communities when it came to police brutality. So, we need to speak up. So what we did was we had this conversation, open conversation. And so to your question, to answer your question, even just a couple of weeks ago when we saw what was happening with the George Floyd case, we came into our office and we watched it just like you watch it. It didn't happen in New York City. We're like, this doesn't make sense to us, right? We don't come to work to do that. None of the people that I work with come to work to do stuff like that. So when we see, especially in other municipalities, and we can't say, well, this is what they're trained on, this is what they're supposed to do, this is how they do it, because everybody's training is a little different in different states and municipalities. But when we come in the next day, we feel it just like you feel. Because at the end of the day, like I think two of my partners spoke today, outside this uniform, we're just like your uncles, your aunts, your brothers, your sisters. We are parents too. So we don't roll around and sleep in this uniform. We are humans. So the same way you was feeling, trust me, a lot of us are feeling the same. So no, we don't just go about our day. We try to say, you know what can we add to this program to make it better in New York City, so we don't have to deal with stuff like that.
Just to preface what I'm going to say, I kind of whatever questions you guys ask, this is not a politically correct forum, we're here to answer real questions, real problems, and real concerns, because a lot of times, like I said, I've never had a good experience with cops growing up, ever. So becoming a cop, I've been on both sides, I've experienced police brutality, really, not like some people that just come out and they really haven't. And I've also been an officer, so I can tell you both sides. If you haven't been on both sides, you don't have a better perspective than I do. But just to answer your question, like the sergeant said, we definitely don't go about our days. And again, remember, the United States every state operates almost like its own separate country. New York City is very different from a lot of different places, and we have our own issues. But we never go about our day, and everything that happens in other municipalities, it just finds its way over to New York, and we still have to deal with it. So look, I'm concerned about it. I have 3 kids. I have 2 little girls, I have she's 14, my son is 18, and I have a 10-year-old. So I'm concerned. And we're all concerned. And again, look, we're here because it's a misconception sometimes. I don't know what you guys think, so I don't want to have any preconceived notion of what you think about police and cops. But some people think, oh, cops just out there, you just want to shoot people, you just want to kill people. It's just far from the truth. Most, 99% of, let me not give you a number, but most cops never have to even take their firearm out. But what you see in the media is you see a lot of the minority of what really happens. Most cops don't shoot people. Like I said, most cops don't even take their guns out. So again, we have issues in NYPD, and I'm only going to talk about New York City because I don't know how other police departments work. But we have our own issues we got to address, and we're trying to address them now. But we're very concerned about everything that happens because we're concerned about public safety. And we're also concerned about the perception of what people think safety is, because we could say crime is going down. Right now, crime is not going down. Crime is on a rise like never before, and there's a few different things that's affecting that. But even if crime was going down, if people don't feel safe, then their perception or their perspective is not safe to go outside. So we're concerned, and we're trying our best as much as we can to address safety concerns and also combating crime, which is a difficult problem to combat in New York, because we have one side of it, and then we could lock up 1 million people. We have more gun arrests than ever before. I think in the last, is it 5 years? We have more gun arrests in the last 5 years, but we can do what we can do, and if you have a criminal justice system, we're a part of it that has to do the rest. So if people if the laws are more lax or whatever have you, people are coming out, we can arrest as many people as we want, but if there's no penalties for wrongdoing, it's out of our control. We've done what we can do, and now we got to leave it to our lawmakers and the city council and the mayor. They also have a part to play in the role as well. So I hope that answers the question. I know it's a little bit long.
Another question right there.
My question is, you said earlier that most cops don't even have to use their weapons. My question is, like, do you feel as though, I know in certain countries, in certain states even, they don't even provide firearms for maybe those who have police or anything. So do you feel as though firearms are unnecessary in most cases, unless you have a
Yeah, I don't answer, but just so, I mean, it's hard to hear, but what she asked was, in certain places, they don't even issue firearms. So do we think that it's necessary to have a firearm? Or should we just have them in some situations? Was that your question? In certain circumstances, okay. And anybody want to take that?
Can I just throw, great question, I just want to throw this real quickly. Mine's going to be less than 2 minutes. Because I'm like a history buff. So before
you start the question, say it again, because some people at home, they have 130 students watching, can't hear it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So the question was, then say it, so I can repeat it.
Well, you know what it is, yeah, just say it again, just so you can
in certain countries and certain states, they don't issue firearms for cops. So my question is, do you think that firearms are necessary, like, to have them all the time, or should you just have them in certain cases for specific ones?
Great question. So he's going to finish off and he's going to answer the second part of that question. I'm going to tell you something about the first one. So I'm a history buff. In the early 1800s, there was no NYPD, it was municipal police department here in New York, or in New Amsterdam. Those officers did not have firearms. The first police officer that was killed with a firearm. The officers that we had at that time, they had batons and a whistle. That's all they had. So to say in some instances, should they have, we kind of touched on that in the early 1800s, and I guess early on it probably did work until the criminal element started having firearms and the police didn't have. So I'll let him finish off the second half of that.
As a NYPD traffic agent,
Yeah,
as a NYPD traffic agent, ideally, we don't use firearms. Our day-to-day base job contains, cleaning the streets, directing traffic, issuing summonses, dealing with the public, and there's a lot of irate motorists out there. So basically, you can get out of a lot of situations without a firearm. Talking your way out of the situation, the escalation, how you approach the person, the words you use. Like, for instance, like if somebody's coming at you really angry, the first thing you say, don't say calm down. Just get more angry. So how can I help you? You'll be the nice guy. Even though like you do not want to do your job, you don't necessarily need a firearm per se, but in certain situations, I'm not trained in firearm, but in certain situations, I guess it is necessary. But in certain situations, it's not necessary.
Anybody else want to take it?
Anybody want to stand on it?
I think before we, just so you understand that, and I think the educational part of this is, we were actually talking about this before we came. It's something called deadly physical force. So anything that can kill you or potentially kill you is deadly physical force. So a firearm is deadly physical force. If somebody has a bat, can somebody kill you with a bat? So can somebody kill you with a knife? Those are all dead, it's called deadly weapons. So anything that could, like, seriously, or it's called PSI, physical force, serious physical injury, SPI, or that can kill you, is, that's what we're going up against. So to answer your question, so this is my, and again, this is just my perspective, but this is my opinion. I think we should carry firearms because, look, we run into so many different situations and we don't know what's going to happen. So we don't know when we're actually going to need them. You never know. The guy that shot the 16-year-old girl, what state is that? Minnesota? Ohio, I'm sorry. In Ohio. He walked on the scene. I think it was about 17 seconds before the young lady was going to stab or she had a knife. It looks like she was going to stab her. He had 17 seconds to make that decision, and he came just to a dispute. So we don't know what we're going to need firearms. And look, I don't know any cop that goes out, and I'm not saying that they're not out there. And I've worked in Brooklyn North, I've worked in Brooklyn South, and I've never ran into a cop that's just like, hey, I want to shoot somebody. I've just never ran into that. Again, I'm not saying they're not out there, that's not my experience. So to answer your question, yes, I think we should have it because we just never know what we're going to need. And there's a saying, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But it is not our first line of defense. The first thing we do is we try to talk to people. That's the first thing we try to do. And we try to use other measures. We have the time. We have other things that we can use depending on the situation. But look, police is dangerous. I don't think any police officer tell you different. So yes, we should use firearms. We should have it. That's my personal opinion.
So after the part speaking, we can then talk about how the students focus on, talk about the do's and the don'ts of how to engage on what let's talk about what students are kind of along with that. Volunteer.
So I was half raised in Barbados, and the law enforcement actually had friends out there, and they carried the tongs and stuff like that, but not to the magnitude of what we carry. So when you look at other places, the population is a little bit small, right? The respect level is higher, and we have to compare that to New York City, where the population, we're in the millions. So for me to be able to predict what that next person is gonna have on them is pretty hard. I can't do it. So at the end of the day, a firearm is a tool to do your job. And it's up to you to use your mind and say, what tool do I need to be able to make it through the day? What tool do I need to be able to better communicate with anyone else? And it's all about communication. So at the end of the day, when you come to school, you ever had that moment where you're saying, should I put this textbook in my bag or should I move on? And then when you get to school and you don't have it, you're like, I should have brought it with me. I'm not saying, just think of it that way. You always have to be prepared. You have to be prepared with pencils, your books, your bag, all the necessary items. As a police officer, we want to be able to make it home to our families. We want to be able to make sure you make it home to your family. And we never want to be put in a position where we don't have the necessary tools for you guys to make it home to your family. Because the first thing someone's going to say is, well, why didn't that officer have a baton? Why didn't he have a taser? Why didn't he have a firearm? Why didn't he have a summons? Even something as small as a summons is a tool that he uses. So the name of the game is always be ready. And when you walk through life, you have to always be ready. In college, you have to always be ready. Young adult, when you go to work, you have to always be ready. So I would say it's necessary, but we as police officers have to think about how necessary is it to use it. That's the part that we have to think about.
I have a question. I know Ms. Park you before as far as how everyone should carry
Your question,
themselves.
right? We're just asking people to use the mic because they're streaming and it's hard to hear.
I just wanted to piggyback on what Ms. Vargas was saying in regards to the students, and this is given guidance. There's a lot of students now who are actually preparing to drive. So a lot of parents are nervous in that situation. We're excited about them doing driver's ed. They want to get their license. But can you just explain to them and give them some guidance if by chance when they're in school, what are some of the things they should do when they're in that position if they were to go?
Absolutely, and I'm sure there's a few officers in this room that will be willing to jump in and participate on this part. Before we even go into this part of the discussion, I just kind of want to ask you guys a question, or put some out there and ask a question. Everywhere you go, there's pretty much a governance, right? There's someone who governs where you are. So when you're in a school building, I would imagine it's the administrators, the principal, the dean, right? At home, who's the governors of your home? Who? Parents. Your parents, right? So a lot of people don't really understand this, but on the streets, the police officers, for the most part, are governors, right, on the street. So it's our job to maintain public safety, make sure that outside is safe and comfortable for everybody, right? So a lot of things, there may be things that you may see officers enforcing, but if it's a law, it meant something to enough people for it to become a law, right? So it may seem, unnecessary for cops to complain, for cops to issue summonses for people maybe drinking on the street. I know smoking, the laws have kind of changed, maybe about loitering on corners. It may seem like it doesn't make sense, but it made enough sense to enough people to gather and say, hey, we need to make this a law, right? So something about that, something happened where enough people came together and said, we don't want this, and this is how it became a law. So I just kind of want to remind you guys that when you interact with the police, it's the same way anywhere you go. You come in this building has rules. You go up and down the stairs. One side of the steps may be people going up, another side may be people going down. We may not understand, like I come to school and I might not understand why, one side is to go up, one side is to go down. I may not understand why one side of the hallway is to walk this way, the other side is to walk the other way, right? But there's definitely a reason. So I say to say, not to defend some of the police officers and their responses, but there are reasons for why we do things. You may not know all of the reasons, right? But there are reasons. And so to go into interactions with police, I'm going to let some of the other officers in the room go into that. Someone mentioned something about driving, just a huge thing about driving. If you're in a vehicle, well, first thing is when you get in any vehicle, you guys are at the age where you're going to be driving soon. Before you get in any vehicle, before you take anything, know who you're with, right? Know who you're around. Because one of the largest things that happen to young people, especially in your age range, is that you're oftentimes with people and you don't know everything about them, right? And then you end up finding out more about, some of your associates when it's too late, right? So if you don't know much about somebody, you might not want to let them in your car. If somebody asks you, can you hold a bag, and you don't know what's in it, you might not want to take it. Because oftentimes, this is what we find happen, right? Somebody say, hey, can you hold my bag for me? You don't know there's a gun in there, there might be a drug, there might be drugs in there. And now you're put with that bag, nobody wants to hear, I didn't know. And unfortunately, it happens every day. Same thing with a vehicle, right? If you're in a car with a group of people, somebody has an illegal firearm or has drugs in their car, when you get stopped, if the owner doesn't own up to it, and a lot of times it doesn't happen, unfortunately, everybody's responsible. So, you guys at the driving age or at the age now you're going to be doing more things without your parents, it's going to be very important for you because the onus is going to be on you, right, to make the proper decisions. And the most important thing I can say to you is to make sure, because that's what gets young people in trouble all the time, make sure you know who you are associated with. When you get in a vehicle, you should know everybody in that car. Like if you don't know, it's not good enough to know one person and not know the other two people. Because once you get in that vehicle, whatever they did or whatever they have with them becomes all of you guys. So just remember that. If there's any officers in the room that want to speak about interactions, anybody?
Do they have a specific question?
Yeah, just about interacting with the police if they stop, or anybody have a specific question about police interactions?
If you are stopped by the police and it has nothing to do with drugs, it is, not drugs, guns, it's a simple traffic infraction, you may have the beginning, so we all had to start from somewhere. you forget to signal, you got your mom's car, your dad's car, you don't know if the tail light is broken or they bought you a hoopty. And it's just a hoopty, so, some things are not working in it. If you are stopped by, one of us police officers, I would suggest you roll your windows down. Because these are some of the things that even adults don't know. Roll all your windows down, the back windows, have a little tint or something on it, so the officer gets to the car, and they're put more at ease. They think maybe somebody, your mom, your dad, somebody you know is on the job, you took some time, or you just respectful. Roll your windows down. They ask you for something, give it to them. You can ask them a question, why you stopped, why you not, what are you pulling over for? Maybe they'll have time to answer the question. If you get a good officer, maybe they'll explain it to you, maybe they won't. But my thing is, don't go back and forth. Take the officer's name, badge number, or something that you can get that if they're not issuing you anything, or you felt you was wrong or pulled over for no reason at all because they gave no explanation. Just don't go back and forth. I understand whatever rights you have, we all get that. But we all also know some situations don't turn out the way they should. That's what you have parents for. Like I said, you get the name, badge number, if that's necessary, and you give it to your mother, and then you move forward with making a complaint or something if you have to. But just always comply. Keep your hands and everything where you can see them. So again, your officer and your interaction, y'all guys are at ease with one another. Jamie, right?
I have a question. I have a question.
Louder.
I have a question. There's a film code, right? It says what does that mean?
That applies to court. If the cops, sorry. So if you're driving on the street in a car, you can't say I plead the police. You just can't. Again, so that applies to court and stuff like that. But so if you get stopped, you have to present your license. You can't say I'm not giving you my license. You can't do that. You just, if we're stopping you for whatever we're stopping you for, it's called a forcible stop. So now you're not. So if you're being stopped in a car, cop has their lights and sirens on, or just their lights, you're not free to leave. So at that point, it's called a forcible stop. So whatever the cop is asking you to present, and it's going to be a license because that shows that you're authorized by New York State to drive in New York City, New York State. So you have to present these documents when you're being stopped. And so if you're being arrested, so let's say, so actually, let me backtrack. So it's not just for court. If a cop stops you on the street, and every cop everywhere, and this is, I'm pretty sure, throughout all of the United States, the stop and frisk, or stop and possible frisk, is an intrinsic power of policing. Let me explain a little bit. So intrinsic means that it's just tied to policing. So any cop anywhere can stop and ask you, what are you doing? They can't. That's just a power that police have. So now when you get to stop and frisk, that's a little bit more detail. It's called 4 levels of intrusion. So at level, I'm not keep it real simple. At levels 1 and 2, you're free to go and you don't have to answer any questions. But the problem is you don't know what level the cop is at. And talking to you, we might start off at level 1, and I may ask you a couple of questions, and I might shoot it to like level 10 from what you're saying. So you don't know what level the cops are, but if we stop you and it's just, it's called a right inquiry, exactly what you're doing here. But what if I ask you, you can, again, if I'm at level 1 or if I'm at level 2, you can not answer me, you can run away, and I can't even chase you. But again, you don't know what level the cops are at. Look, and like the officer said, if the cops stop me, and I tell my kids this, be respectful at best. And guess what? Let's say you have a cop, because we have some cops that don't do the right thing. Like I said, we're here to have an honest conversation. We have cops like that. So even if you're right, you can still turn out to be wrong, or get hurt, or get injured, or lose your life, and that's not what you want. So sometimes we cut off our nose to spite our patience. So you don't want to do that. So even if the cop is doing something they're not supposed to do, be respectful. And again, I tell my kids this, I tell my friends and my family this. Be respectful, comply, get their name, their serial number, if you can, and you deal with everything else after. But that's the biggest thing about police and about community is respect. Sometimes we don't have mutual respect. Sometimes the cops don't have respect for the community, and sometimes the community don't have respect for the cops. Sometimes they don't have respect for each other. And that's where the problem comes in. So be respectful. When you're being stopped, be respectful. I'm respectful when I get stopped. I don't like to get stopped by the cops. And I don't just throw out my shit on, hey, I apologize. Like, and I'm a cop. And I'm respectful. So I think, where do you go? He said it before, just being respectful is a big deal. So if you be respectful, I don't think you have a problem. Even if you have a problem, you're still gonna be okay if you're disrespectful. Any other questions? Like, if you guys ask, because it's kind of hard to say what to do in street encounters, because there's so many different variables we can come up with. If you guys have something specific that you want to ask, or you heard about, if you want clarification, you want to know, like, if you ask it, it's easier for us to ask questions. You guys can jump on that one.
Sister, they can't hear you at home.
I was just gonna say, like, if you get stopped by a cop and then, like, you ask, like, am I being detained, can you walk away?
Yeah, you can ask them. You can actually, if the cops stop you, and again, so here's the thing. If the cops stop you, like I said, there's levels 1 through 4. At level 1 and 2, you're free to go. You don't have to answer any questions. But then again, like, you don't have to. But as a cop, and again, you don't know why they stop you. They may tell you sometimes as a cop, like, I've had to stop people that stab people. I'm not gonna initially tell you to stop me because you stabbed X, Y, Z. I may not be forthcoming up front, but I may ask you some questions to lead up to that. So yes, you can do that, but I mean, if you're not really doing anything, the cops say, what's your name? I don't have to talk to you. Am I being detained? That's not really respectful, but you can do it. You can do it again. It just goes back to respect, but if you're at level 1 and 2, am I being detained? If you're not being detained, you can walk away and you're free to leave. So yes, you can.
Is everybody clear what comply means? Everybody's clear with that?
Who said that? Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? We're here to ask them.
I think there's a mic in that somewhere.
I just wanted to ask, like, if you've ever had an encounter with a lawyer, whether it's like at the DA's office or prosecutor, what's usually the relationship between cops and lawyers? Like, do you guys tend to butt heads a lot, or does it seem to be very peaceful?
That's a great question. Anybody else? She just asked, what's our relationships with attorneys at the district attorney court?
You know, out the room and volunteer. All right, so goodbye.
Yeah.
So, I came from an active command, 7-1 precinct, and I was a very active cop. I never treated district attorneys like we were friends. We're not friends. I have a job to do, and they have a job to do as well. So I've never actually experienced any back and forth, but whatever they needed from me, that's all I gave them. I never gave them extra. Sometimes you divulge too much, and that turns around and sometimes bites you, right in the butt. So I never treated them as friends, and they weren't necessarily looking out for my best interest, but, after the rest, like the detective said earlier, it doesn't stop there. You arrest bad guys, and then you have the district attorney's office involved. So we do our job, then they have their job to do. Whether, they're gonna put this person through, whether they're gonna go through trial, whatever the case may be. But that's just my personal experience. I heard from a senior cop when I was working a long time ago. I was warned, these guys are not your friends. Because they can get promotion sometimes,
based on an indictment of an officer. So, anybody else?
I think that was a great question, and I know who wants to be a lawyer in the room. So, you know, from my personal experience, I think it might be referred more to defense attorneys, the lawyers who defend the people who are being tried. And so I've had, yes, experiences with them. But I think it as we all have a job to do, right? Like I have a job to do. My job is to make the arrest, make sure the streets are safe, and make sure I get enough information forward so that the district attorneys can prosecute this person. But in terms of our relationship, I think we just remain professional. Like, I just remember it's their job to get this guy off. Like, he's paying them good money to make sure that he walks free. So as long as you keep that in your head, like, hey, this guy is just doing his job. I literally sat on the stands and I've had pretty much defense attorneys call me a liar and ask me a series of questions in multiple ways. And, you know, you just gotta remain professional and understand that, hey, this person is just doing their job, another person. I chipped into their hands after sitting on stands and pretty much people me a lie, I understand, right? But it's their job and everybody has a job to do. So I get your question. And it's a really good question.
Yeah, so my experience with defense attorneys, because we mainly deal with the prosecutors, because that's who is working on behalf of the state. But I remain professional, and we're not, again, we're not here to be nasty or be, because they didn't do the job and they did it to defend people, and that's their job. So I have never butted heads with defense attorneys, and they're people too. They have bad days, they have good days. Sometimes they're annoyed and angry, but at the end of the day, they're there to defend their client, and we're just here as a part of the process. The prosecution is working against the defense, and we're just here to just kind of give what we saw and what was our involvement in the case. So I've never butt heads, but you have cops that butt heads with district attorneys. And sometimes we have cops that have great relationships because you may work in a special unit where you're always dealing with a specific amount of these guys. So it is a respect level. And look, like the sergeant said, like, I remember, so in 2005, I had, it was a rift or a feud going on between two Hasidic sects in the 9th precinct. I ended up with 26 burglary arrests. 26 Hasidic Jews were under arrest for burglary of a synagogue. This went on for years. So I had to go to trial. I went to trial, and these guys paid some top-notch attorneys. I was a rookie at the time when I made the arrest. They paid these top-notch attorneys. One guy represented Stephon Marbury, he used to play for the Knicks and some other teams, as big basketball players. They paid hundreds of thousands for these lawyers. And before the trial, like one of the attorneys came over, I think like all of them, they came over, we were talking, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Before we went in the court, he said, don't take this personal. He told me straight up, he's like, look, don't take it personal, just business. And when I got on the stand, I mean, they grilled me. And that's what they did do. They did grill you. They didn't make you uncomfortable. They didn't try and get you upset to get you to act out of character. So I'm not upset. They're trying to look in, they're trying to get the clients off. So it's generally my experience is a professional relationship with them. And we're not friends. Because a lot of people think, oh, they're in cahoots with the attorneys, but we're not for the most part.
So, before we call recruitment, just to speak about career opportunities in the New York City Police Department, I just want to know if David's final question. Once. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. I'm sorry. You guys have anything last time? Okay. Oh. Anybody? All right, I'm sorry.
All right, guys, so we want to take a few minutes to talk about the different opportunities, job opportunities within the police department. One of the jobs is just, the guys that were just talking to me, police officers. That's probably one of the jobs that you're working with the community, you're helping the community. a lot of people, like a lot of the officers that were talking, they didn't know if they wanted to become police officers or not. I say that if you have a good heart and you have a little bit of a knack for helping people, you might be the right fit. For that job, you do need 60 college credits. You guys are going into college, some of you are going into the military, if you decide to go that route. We take 2 years of military service in lieu of the college requirement. You have to be 21 years of age to be hired, but you can start the process sooner. The exam you can take at 17 and a half. Unfortunately, we just closed out the filing period, so no one here can qualify for this exam, but hopefully there will be an exam in the future. For those of you that are planning on going to college, we've had a program that has been suspended, not because of COVID, but maybe if it comes back, it's something that you may want to look into. We have the Cadet program. We basically work for the police department, and we help you with the tuition while paying you for it. So that's a great program while you are in school. Then we have several civilian opportunities. Traffic. You have to be 18 years of age. You don't need any college. You can just get on the job. And you would be, just like my partner explained, you're either directing traffic, you can be writing summonses, you can work at the toll pound, picking up cars that obstruct traffic or park illegal. School safety, protecting our youth inside public schools across the city. Another job, for that you have to be 21 years of age, but all you need is a high school diploma, you have to take a test. We also have police communications technicians, which are basically the people that you hear on the phone when you call 911, and also the people that communicate with the police on the street. Dispatching jobs, getting us resources if we need, and we appreciate them very much. That's another civilian job. I think, especially for our young people, follow us on social media. We're very good on Instagram, NYPD, at NYPD Recruit. We post all the breaking news about all the exams, all the different employment opportunities. To want to recruit, if you have any questions, if you want to speak with the recruiter, please give us a call. We're always available. We want to answer your questions. And they could be questions about just about anything. It could be about jobs. If you're planning on getting on the job and you're in the process and you don't know what something means or you don't know what documents you need, we are more than willing to help. Anything else? All right. Thank you for your time.
All right, an awful lot to process, an awful lot to take in. I hope everybody has 2 or 3, 4 or 5 takeaways from today, things that you're going to bring home with you and you're going to think about and make yourself a better person in our society. Let's have a big round of applause for our guests. It's never easy coming in and sharing your life story, but I think these ladies and gentlemen did a great job sharing their experiences and really helping us better understand the NYPD. So we thank them for what they did for us today. With that said, we should also thank our PTA for organizing this for us. As always, we enter to learn and we need to serve. So I thank everybody for their attention today, and let's have a great rest of the day.
So they're gonna hang around if you don't want to talk to any individual person. Thank you.
Guys, take it down. Let me just say something.
Those new leaders are for you to take on.
Guys, please take advantage of this opportunity. We have like an all-star team here today of officers. Make sure you get someone's business card, get at least 2 or 3 business cards, and connect and introduce yourself to at least 1 or 2 of the officers. This is an opportunity to either be in the room. We have, I think, over 150 people screening. So it's so amazing that you're able to participate in the building with them. So please take advantage of this opportunity. Thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Okay, at this point, you're all returning to period E. Okay, period E.
About the what? Yeah, I do.
I don't like them, but I see them. I see them.
I don't like them, they're colorful,
I
like.
want to finish that. Any questions you got for that? My cell number is on your phone. Drop me a text. Huh? I went to go to college. I got a bachelor's in film production.
Okay, everyone, at this time, you're all reporting to period E. Thank you for being a great audience, and make sure you log on to period E. Have a great afternoon. You're all reporting to period E. Thank you for being a great audience, and make sure you log on to period E. Have a great afternoon. Period E. Thank you for being a great audience.